Good morning, my friends. I'm Pastor Ben Hayes from First Baptist Church, Dadeville, Alabama, bringing you our thought for the day on this marvelous Monday. What a great weekend we had this weekend, even though it was rainy. We had a great worship service yesterday with all of the special music. And then last night, the children's program was amazing. If you missed it, I tell you what, don't miss it next year because it was very good. But today I want to focus on Romans chapter 7. We're going to pick up in verse 15. All right? We're going to get a running start into where we are today. So we're backing up just a little bit. Listen to what he says. He says, "For what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice. But what I hate, that I do." Now, we've all been there. We understand this. We know that there are things that we know we're supposed to be doing, we want to do, we fall short. We end up doing other things. We sin instead of living righteous lives. And we know that. We all experience that at times. Now, listen to what he says. "If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the law that it is good." Okay, what he's talking about here is the law tells us that it's sin, okay? "But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me." Now, I don't know if you realize this, but a week or two ago I made this statement, and I made it many times. You cannot blame your sin on the devil. You cannot say the devil made me do it. Sounds a little bit like Paul is doing that. He's saying it's the sin in me that's doing this. Well, here's what he's telling you. He's telling you if we're doing this, then there's something wrong in our lives. That sin nature has not been put to death. That sin nature has been fed enough to where it's rearing its ugly head and causing us to live this way. All right? And that's what he's saying here. Not trying to alleviate his responsibility, but talking about where this sin is coming from, which is true for all of us. When we are living in sin, it is because sin is our sin nature has taken control. Okay? You got me? Not excusing us, because we who are believers have crucified ourselves. Our sin nature has been put to death. So what we've done is we've allowed it to rear its ugly head and take control. All right? Verse 18. "For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, nothing good dwells." How true that is. Nothing good about this sinful man. Nothing good except for the indwelling spirit of God through the Holy Spirit. "For to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good I do not find." You get that, right? We want to do the right things. We want to live righteous lives. We want to please God. We want to witness. We want to worship. We want to serve. The will is there, but the how to is not, because that sin nature keeps bubbling up. All right? Stick with me here for a minute. "For the good that I will to do, I do not do. But the evil I will not to do, that I practice." You see this? This is the Apostle Paul writing this. This is not some ordinary person that we talk about, right? This is not you or me. This is the Apostle Paul, the great missionary, the one who wrote over half of our New Testament. And he's telling us those things that he knows he ought to do, he doesn't do. The things that he knows he shouldn't do, he does. Why is that? Because he's human too. And he still has that sin nature as well. And there are moments even for super Christians like the Apostle Paul. That's probably not a good term, but you understand what I'm talking about. There are moments even for people like him who are so very close to God, who stumble and fall into sin because of that sin nature. Verse 20, "Now if I do what I will not to do, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me." Again, not trying to shirk his responsibility, but saying it's because I've not taken care of that sin nature. I've not dealt with that. I've not put it completely to death. Or maybe I started feeding it again by the things that I'm watching, the things that I'm saying, the things that I'm thinking, not taking captive all of those thoughts in obedience to Christ. And so here we go. Final couple of verses. "I find then a law, that evil is present with me, the one who wills to do good. For I delight in the law of God according to the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members." There it is. He spells it out for us. The law is there. Evil is here. That's what the law does. It shows us that sin nature is within us and that we are people who do sin. That's just who we are before we come to know Christ. The one who wills to do good, that's me too. I want to do the right things, but I don't. But listen to what he says. For I delight in the law of God according to the inward man. That's where that will to do good comes from. The delighting to live in the law of God according to the inward man. But there's a battle that's raging, and we'll pick up there tomorrow. I want you to think about this battle. Notice it today. And every time sin nature rears its ugly head, just start talking to Jesus, asking him for strength. You'll be surprised at how things change. Be blessed. I'll see you back here tomorrow.